Okay, well, I gotta get you in the right spot. All right, so my name's Sherry. I'm from West Virginia, and I'm a registered nurse, so I'm a working mother, and I know how it is to try to feed your family after work or just any day. And I'm here to show you and explain to you how I do it. So you can do it at your house. All right. I'm going to show you a lot of Appalachian recipes. I'm going to talk a lot about West Virginia and all that stuff. But today we're just going to do a basic meatloaf, mashed potatoes, green beans, and I might do a little thing of corn. Usually I only do 3 things for dinner, but today's something special because I'm talking to you guys. So I just got back from the store and I need to unload my bra. So hang on a second. So, you got to get the wallet out and then the phone out and then the keys out. I learned that trick when I was in college because when you want to go bar hopping, you don't really want to take a purse. So I used my bra instead, and I'm sure a lot of these West Virginia girls do the same thing and probably in other places. So when I want to go back to like being a nurse for a minute because in West Virginia, yeah, I am a nurse in West Virginia, but I did some travel nursing. And I went all the way out west, I went all down south. And one thing that I know for sure, and plus the media always paints us as toothless and walking crooked because of the mountains, is that people out there think the same thing. Like we don't have sidewalks and stuff, but we really do. We have big, tall buildings. We have culture besides our country roots. We have polished culture. Out west, they think that everything east of the Mississippi is city, sidewalks, concrete. They don't think that there's any open, wide area space. But if you do an aerial view of West Virginia, you will see that probably the majority of my state is mountains and trees. And if you haven't been here, you should come because we got a lot of great stuff. But anyway, on to today. So I'm going to make cooking easy. I'm going to help you get your budget straight for cooking. You don't have to use all these fancy ingredients that, other shows or people say you have to do. I shop on a budget. I very seldom use brand name stuff because the other stuff's just as good and it's cheaper. I shop at Aldi's, I shop at Walmart, and I shop at Kroger's. It all depends on who's delivering that day because I don't actually go to the store anymore. But I do love Aldi's has the best fresh vegetables, which we're not using any of that today. But the other thing I want to tell you, and I'll tell you every single time, use what you have. If a recipe calls for something that you don't even know how to spell or say or don't know what it tastes like, don't use it. If it calls for something that you just don't have, like if it calls for garlic salt and you just don't have it, don't worry. Don't use it. That's my big thing is one of my friends calls me a cobble cook, which that's probably a good explanation because I can go in my kitchen and just look and see what I have and make dinner. So that's what I want to teach you, and I want to teach you about West Virginia and me and my family and all that good stuff. So about my family. I am 54, my husband's 55. I had a baby when I was 40, so he's 14. We homeschool, so that kind of sets us apart from things. My son is biracial, which also sets us apart from some things. And there's just stuff that everybody should be aware of. But if you have a child of any ethnic background, you got to do some homework. And especially if they're half black, African American, there's just things in our world today that you got to be on top of, and you got to teach them as best as you can. And if you have any black friends or family, get them in on it, because there's one thing I know: I cannot teach him how to be black. But we are in contact with a couple of his aunts. They have been great. But anyway, let's get to the meatloaf, okay? So let me get the phone where you can see my workspace, and you can see, whoop, you can see that I just have a normal kitchen. Well, I really don't have a normal kitchen because I can't get this thing straight, and I don't have one of those tripods yet, so we're going to be working on that. Woo! He just fell. I'm not doing very good with this. Help me, help me, help me. I thought I had it figured out before I got started, but evidently that didn't work out. Alright, well anyway, we're gonna go from here. I've already unloaded my bra, and yeah, see, I don't even have kitchen cabinet doors. It's a work in process. So I don't have a big fancy kitchen, but I do have some know-how. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is get a big bowl. If you don't have a stainless steel bowl, use any bowl you have. It doesn't matter. Just something big enough. Use a big pot. It doesn't matter. Just use something big enough to squish this all together. So I have, if you have a small family, use 1 pound, 2 pound, whatever. This is 2 pounds of 80/20, sorry, ground beef. And I don't use any special ground beef. I use hamburger and what's on sale. That's what I use, okay? If you have to use 73, whatever it is, then use that. Okay, I had a packet of ground pork in the freezer that needed used. I don't normally put pork in here, but it needed used, and I can't stand to waste food. Alright, so we're going to kind of just squish that all together. Alright, first thing you need is, well, there's no order, but you need a few eggs. If you don't have eggs, I mean, don't worry about it. I've never made one without eggs, but it'll work. You know, if it doesn't, just give it a different name. Your family won't know the difference. I'm using 3 eggs. Alright, I got 3 eggs in there. Now, my little boy was little. He would not eat peppers or onions. No. So, when I made meatloaf when he was little, I used these packets of meatloaf seasoning. But today, I didn't have any. And I always use the store brand. They're like 50 cents an envelope. But I have beef stew seasoning. I don't think they'll know the difference. It smells like the same thing. So I'm going to dump a couple of those in there. One thing, too, that I make a habit of is I keep a bag of clothes for trash, so I don't have to deal with it. Oh, I'm going to put that in the trash. Alright, so we got that in there. I'm going to cut up a little onion. So the way I cut up onion, I don't guess it matters, but I don't know if you can see this. There we go. So I cut it in half, and then I kind of hold it like that, and I cut long slices down. Then I turn it, cut it the other way, and voila, you have chopped onion. Throw that in there. If you don't have onion, don't worry about it. If you don't have the meatloaf seasoning, just throw some like salt and pepper, garlic powder, garlic salt, onion powder, maybe some paprika. I mean, just throw some stuff in there. It'd be alright. That's what I was going to do today until I found the beef stew. The beef stew seasoning. So this is just, you know, quick stuff. You can make this up ahead of time the night before. There's all these crock pot recipes too that we can go over, because when I work a 12-hour shift and come home, the last thing I want to do is cook. The rest of the onion, we're going to put it in. I have all kinds of cutting boards, but I like to use the saucer. Okay, so the next thing is, I like to put a little green pepper in it now that my son's old enough to eat green pepper. This is all the green pepper I had in the refrigerator, so that's all I'm going to use. Once again, if you don't have green pepper, don't worry about it. But I will tell you, one of the things that I like to try to remember to do is they have chopped green pepper in the freezer section at any store, and one bag will last like a lifetime. It just goes on forever. Another thing I just thought about, because this pepper's a little wilty. If you have wilty green peppers, and you're eating them raw, salad or something, a good way to perk them back up is to sink them in some ice water for a little bit, and they will come out smiling. Okay, so I cut it in strips, and then I chop it up. You know, not super chunky, but not super fine. Alright, I tried to get prepared before I did this, but, oh well, we're going to go with it, okay? Alright. If you have any recipe suggestions, please send them on. I always like a challenge. I do cook a lot of ethnic food. I just don't always cook Appalachian or, excuse me, stick to your bones food. We're foodies, so we like to try things. So here's my green pepper. I'm going to put that right in there. Bring the bowl back. Okay, so I don't measure anything either, which really pisses a lot of people off to ask me for a recipe. So here we have some $1 Kroger ketchup. And let me tell you, you just put like a big squeeze in there. Okay, that's it. You can put some cracker crumbs in here, breadcrumbs in here, no crumbs in here, you know. But I need to run across here and get my crackers, because I am going to put cracker crumbs in here. Hold on. Okay, I'm coming back. These are Ritz crackers. If you don't have Ritz crackers, use saltine crackers. Breadcrumbs. If you don't have, you know, like store-bought breadcrumbs, just chunk up some sandwich bread. I mean, why don't these open? You know, any other time they'd be popping out all over the kitchen. Okay, so I just get some, rumble them up in there. That's it. I'm going to use some package. The crumbs make it stick together better, but like I said, if you don't have any, don't worry about it. My sister does an interesting thing with her meatloaf. Into the trash bag. She, after she gets it all mixed together, she pats it out on like aluminum foil, you know, like a big rectangle, and she puts American cheese, or don't use Velveeta because it disappears, any kind of cheese, and then she rolls it up like a jelly roll, and then she bakes it that way, and it's pretty tasty. But my family don't like that, so if they want a cheeseburger, they go to the cheeseburger store, which I'm not going to tell you which is our favorite. We don't really eat out that often, so if you just got to get your hands in here, get it all squished together. It's cold. It's cold. Okay, so I live in Charleston, West Virginia, which is the capital of West Virginia. The original capital of West Virginia was Wheeling, which is in the near the northern panhandle, you know, close to, there's a big chunk of onion, like nobody's going to eat. And that one, I got in a hurry. Interesting thing about West Virginia is the way it's shaped. First of all, people will ask me, oh, do you live near Richmond? I'm like, no, that's in Virginia. I live in West Virginia. It's a totally different state. And West Virginia is shaped kind of like the United States. So you would think that people would kind of make that connection. No. Okay, but Wheeling is up toward the northern panhandle. They're going to kill me for all these chunky onions. And the way West Virginia is shaped, get away. It's a fly. I can't stand flies. the northern part of the state, the northern panhandle, is really close to like Pennsylvania and Ohio, and the people up there even talk different than me. They don't have this twang at all. They talk like northern people. The eastern panhandle is closer to Washington, D.C., and Maryland, and that area is taking on kind of that culture. I live in the center of the state, which is, the whole state's really just a soup pot. We have two major hospitals. One of them is the largest, well, it might not be anymore, I might not want to say that, but it's a big hospital. And there's big hospitals in Morgantown and all that stuff too. But the southern region, like the little scoopy part, takes on a more southern. My area is kind of just us, but I grew up in the country, and country ain't too far from Charleston, just saying. Alright, so I got it all mixed up. Oh, this is parchment paper. It's your friend, because it keeps down on a lot of cleaning. If you have a foil pan, dump that crazy. If you have a foil pan, sometimes I do. I gotta get a hold of these. I probably should have put these in a little chopper hopper. If you don't have a little chopper hopper, you should get one, because it saves you from all this. I just got in a hurry. Just trying to please y'all and talk to y'all. Okay, so let me get rid of that. Alright, can you see this? We're just in a 9x13. I'm just going to squish it down in there. I gotta get some of these chunky onions out. So if you mess up like I did and have your stuff too chunky, just pick it out. Because I know somebody in this house named Max Emilian. He will eat onions and peppers now, but probably not huge chunks. Okay, so we all know that meatloaf can bake up kind of greasy. So I always kind of make a edge around it so there's place for the grease to go. Some people bake their meatloaves on a baking rack in there. That's a good idea, but I don't have a baking rack that'll fit in this pan. Some people bake their meatloaf on top of several layers of bread, and the bread kind of absorbs all the grease. What I normally do is bake it like this, and then I try to like run off some of the grease. So you run some hot water down your sink before you do that. Keep the hot water running, and hopefully the meatloaf won't fall out of the pan, which has happened to me before. Okay, my husband and my son do not like anything on top of their meatloaf. However, I do. And when I was growing up, that's what I grew up with, okay? We put, oh, getting a bubble. So, we put this topping on it, and I love it. The two men in my house are not condiment people. So you get the ketchup back. So you put a big squeeze of ketchup. I don't know, not even a half a cup, but I don't measure anything. And then mustard, just a little bit. You know, just like a baby squeeze of mustard, because it takes over. Okay, then a little brown sugar. Okay, and like I said, most of these ingredients came from, I need a spoon. Well, I ended up with 2 spoons, but, alright, most of my, this came from Aldi's. It's just as good. You pay $1 for this. Alright, so I'm going to put in, this is a little cereal spoon. So I put in 1 big heaping spoon of that. And I'm going to mix it up. Some people put barbecue sauce on top of it. Some people put nothing on top of it. It's just what I like on top of it. Then I taste it. And it's perfect. So, for me, because they eat a lot more than I do, I just put this sauce on like a fourth of the meatloaf. And, you know, then I can have some meatloaf sandwiches tomorrow. If you've never had a meatloaf sandwich, then you have not lived. Okay? West Virginia people love a good meatloaf sandwich. Alright, so this is going to go in the oven at 350 for as long as it takes. At least an hour. You can check it. You can put a little knife in the middle and kind of see if it's still pink or whatever. And like I said, you can make this up the day before, put it in your fridge, pull it out when you get home, stick it in there, do homework with your kids or whatever you need to do, laundry, and then the meatloaf's in. So let me put this in the oven. Hang on. Okay, so my sides with this, which you can do any side you want. If y'all like rice, fix some rice. I got all kinds of rice running over there. It goes with anything. Mashed potatoes is a big Appalachian food. Huge. Like when I was down south and made chicken and dumplings, I always take it to work because I wasn't married and have any kids. You know, I love to cook, so I take it to work. And they were kind of appalled that I didn't have rice with it. I had mashed potatoes with it. So anyway, it's whatever you want. If you don't want anything with it, that's fine too. And I still do, like on holiday days and special times, I'll make mashed potatoes from scratch. And one day we'll do that because I make the best mashed potatoes ever. But on days like this, I use this. Or the store brand version. I think this was on sale, so that's why I got it. The store brand version, Aldi's version, just does as well. You just follow directions on the back, and bam, you got mashed potatoes. The only thing I do differently, if I have it half and half, which I usually have it, I use half and half instead of milk, and a little bit more butter. And then they really taste like real mashed potatoes. Parchment paper that we just went over. I don't buy a lot of canned vegetables. I think they get smushy. In the summer, I like to use fresh vegetables, but I also keep on hand like frozen corn, frozen peas, frozen carrots, you know, whatever. About the only thing that we really have to have fresh is broccoli, cauliflower, you know, carrots, you know, that kind of stuff. Cabbage. We just had fried cabbage last night with apples. I should have showed you how to do that with pork chops. But pork chops and apples is a big thing here too. So anyway, I put this in a little pot, put a little water in it, heat it up, drain it, put a little bit of butter. If you don't want butter, don't put it in there. If you have margarine, use that. Whatever. My husband likes a little squirt of honey in it. That'll work. Maybe a teaspoon of sugar or just the way it is. It doesn't matter. Whatever your family will eat and however you can make it or with whatever you have. The other thing I'm going to do is, I know I'm going to do this. I may not do the corn, but I love corn. But I don't really like to have two starches in one meal. Corn is starch and the mashed potatoes are starch. And I just don't like having it. So the other thing is I get these gigantic cans of green beans. I get a gigantic can because we will eat the whole thing. You don't like beans? Don't get them. You want French cut beans? Get that. It doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. Just what you have and what your family likes. That's it. Okay? So to do the green beans, the Appalachian way, is with a ham hock. It's frozen. That's why that looks like that. Ham hock, lots of flavor. Some people use a couple slices of bacon grease. If you don't have a container of bacon grease around, I don't think I can be your friend. Some people just cook them like that. I know people that use dry onion soup in there. Some people just cook it like it is and put a little bit of salt on it and it's ready to go. We could eat it any of those ways and we'd be fine. But today, because we're talking Appalachia, I'm going to use this. Then, after it's done, I cut this thing in half because it's 2 bones. And the dogs love it. Now, you pet owners that don't give your dogs bones, I don't want to hear it, okay? My dogs get bones. They're all healthy. You know, whatever. I just don't want to hear it. No negative comments on that, and no negative comments on how fat I am. That's what I tell the doctor. If you don't think I know I'm overweight, then you're stupid. Always try not to be, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, so that's going to be dinner. So you know a little bit about West Virginia now, and the different ways of you know, the northern panhandle, eastern panhandle, and then the southern half, which the southern half is like really southern. They've bonded with that half. West Virginia is not one of those states like the whole state is like the whole state. All right, so that's dinner for tonight. I hope you learned something, and I hope you'll be back. And I hope you hit the like button. And there'll be plenty more recipes to come because I cook almost every day. Honest to gosh, we never go out to eat. If you ask my son, do you want to go out to eat tonight because I don't feel like cooking, he will be like, no, I'll find something in the kitchen. My husband's the same way. They don't like to eat out. They like me to cook. So we're going to do all kinds of stuff. We're going to do chicken and dumplings, chicken cordon bleu. We're going to be, Mississippi roast beef. I mean, that's wonderful. Wilted lettuce, all kinds of summer ideas, tomato pie. I could just go on